You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Well. Looks like we got some new Sooner family to welcome in to the Sooner house. Looks like the Sooners have already hired Wes Goodwin to come on as a defensive analyst of some sort, as well as now Nate Dreiling, who is the defensive coordinator at Arkansas State. He ain't been there long, just January 3rd. But he was the interim coach for Utah State and their defensive coordinator. So the question is, are they going to be defensive coordinators? Or are they going to be something entirely different? Or are they going to be co defensive coordinators? Let's talk about it. Here we go once again, living on a prayer, like that old Bon Jovi song. Seems like Brent Venables is sort of living on a prayer here lately with a couple of these hires he just made. I had some questions about those hires, and I'm going to pose that to y'all. Before I get to all that, here they come once again, riding on in. It's the Outlaw Posse now in effect. And today's four horsemen shout-outs go to Tammy Burton, Richard Burton, Corrections 101, and Tatted Sailor 405 are mounted up, saddled up, and ready to go. And they're going to help us with today's college football invasion. And if you don't mind, you can also do the big four, which are all absolutely free. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Subscribing and sharing is most important out of those four to me. And if you want to get your badge and get deputized and get a random four horseman shout out like they just did, as well as possibly the comment of the day, you can also do a little something extra and join the Outlaw Posse for $2.99 a month. That's just 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the Outlaw. It's a little join button over there by the subscribe button. Now, getting right to it here. Seems like Brent Venables has made a couple of hires. Not the big splashy type hires that most people were hoping that he would make. And some people are even saying it's the same old song and dance. Another great song, by the way, by Motley Crue. So let's get right to it here. I got a few articles here and I have some questions here, some things that, made me sort of feel like Arsenio Hall. Things that make you go, Let's check those out real quick. And then I'm going to get y'all's take on that. This article here comes from Sooners SI on Sports Illustrated, their Oklahoma section. It says Oklahoma's prolonged search to round out its defensive staff has drawn to a close. More than 1 month later, after Zach Alley's sudden departure for West Virginia, Brent Venables has tabbed another up-and-comer for a role within his OU's defense. Nate Dreiling, who was hired as defensive coordinator at Arkansas State January 3rd, so he didn't stay there for long, is set to join Oklahoma's staff as a linebackers coach. So he's not going to be the defensive coordinator unto himself. Dreiling's title is also expected to include co-defensive coordinator tags, along with Todd Bates and Jay Valai and many others, I think, Brandon Hall as well. So co-defensive coordinator, I guess. That stuff really does aggravate me a lot. I mean, it just seems like there's too many Chiefs in the TP there. I know that, they're saying that, when it comes down to it, really, Brent Venables is running the defense, which can work sometimes. But I would say more times than not, if I had to guess, I'd say 7 out of 10 maybe times that a coach that is just, too much involved in one side of the ball, he ends up not being a very good head coach long term. The 34-year-old Dreiling comes to OU, it says, with 3 years of experience as defensive coordinator at FBS level. Prior to being named defensive coordinator at Arkansas State, he spent a 2024 season at Utah State as their interim coach and their defensive coordinator, prior to 2 years as New Mexico State's defensive coordinator as well. So we scroll on down here. Prior to his stint at Utah State, wow. Says here, Utah State just went 4-8 with Dreiling serving as a dual role, while the team's defense finished 128th nationally in scoring, giving up 37.8 points a game. 130th in the defensive SP plus. And that now, I don't know about you, but am I missing something here? Let's look at this other article real quick. I think it's about the same thing, but just to back that up, let's pull this up from the Oklahoman. Yeah. Oklahoma is pursuing, it says here's Oklahoma is pursuing Arkansas State defensive coordinator. This is from Oklahoma Sooners. That first article was from the Oklahoman. This one is actually from Sports Illustrated. According to a report from Greg Stoa of the Sooner Scoop, Stoa reported that Dreiling would coach the Sooners linebackers and possibly hold a co-defensive coordinator title. Co. Sound like a movie on a tropical island where they got a bunch of coconuts. Jesse Crittenden of the OU Insider reported that head coach Brent Venables is still expected to handle the defensive play calling duties in 2025, even with the addition of Dreiling to the staff. I'm not a big fan of that. Now, I'm hoping that it works out for him because it has worked out in some instances. Like I said, if you're really good at that side of the ball and you're able to delegate accordingly to the offensive side of the ball, or vice versa, if you're really good on offense and you can delegate to the defense, sort of like Steve Spurrier used to do back in the day at Florida, that's just one good example. It can work, and I hope it does work for Oklahoma's sake and for Brent Venables' sake. Because if it doesn't work, it's just, I'm afraid it's going to be Brent Venables' last year here, as much as I hate to say that. But I'm hearing rumors and mumblings that maybe this hire of Nate Dreiling was a buddy hire. That maybe he's got some kind of Bob Stoops connection, or that Bob Stoops and him are really good friends. And I hope that's not the case. Hope that's just a rumor. Maybe y'all can help me put that to rest. But if that is the case, once again, I think Brent Venables needs to be his own man. And I also think that he needs to relinquish some of those defensive play calling responsibilities to some more coaches. Now, I know he had Ted Roof there the first year. I don't know how involved he was on the defense that first year with Ted Roof. If Ted Roof was allowed to just run the defense on his own and maybe didn't do a very good job, and it pissed Brent Venables off to the point it's like, hey, these guys can't get this shit right. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get it right, and I'm going to delegate accordingly and make sure that the offense is taken care of by somebody I trust. That is now being arbitrable. So I don't know. The defensive stats from Utah State that he had were not very enthralling. They weren't very good. But I will say, there's something I neglected to show that was in those articles. They did have decent defenses when he was a defensive coordinator, just the defensive coordinator for a full year at New Mexico State, a couple of years actually at New Mexico State. Their defenses were 44th and I think 27th or something like that. So the fact that he was having to serve, I'm playing the flip side of this for y'all. The fact that he was having to serve as an interim head coach at Utah State and be the defensive coordinator at the same time in a program that's not really known for winning all the time probably contributed to the fact that his defense sucked. You can't look at it like that. But a lot of people aren't going to look at it like that. I hate to tell Brent that, but I just don't know, man. I didn't know much about the guy. I was watching a buddy of mine's channel earlier, and they were talking about it. And I noticed that they had went to a bowl, Arkansas State. They went to a bowl last year. What I didn't know was that Nate was not their defensive coordinator last year. He only took the job in January 3rd. He was the interim head coach at Utah State and the defensive coordinator. So the only thing you can really look at as far as his resume is that and his years at New Mexico State, amongst other stops. Now, outside the Utah State stop, he actually done pretty good. So this may be an anomaly, or this may be an outlier for this guy, and maybe Brent Venables and others, see that in him. Obviously, Arkansas State saw something in him too, because they hired him as their defensive coordinator, although he really never got a chance to coach them on the field. I don't know. It just don't seem like it just seems like a sort of a shaky hire to me. I have to be quite honest with y'all. I try to be as honest as I can be without being a complete jerk about it. But hopefully there's something there before Utah State that Brent Venables saw, or whomever helped him make the hire, whether it was Joe Castiglione or maybe, Bob Stoops was an advisory role or something. I hope it really works out for him, because Brent Venables to me is a pretty good man. He's a pretty good guy, but sometimes being a good guy and a good man don't always equal to being a great head coach. And I guess we'll find out. But that's all I got to say about that. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Also, there's a little heart down here with a $1 sign in the middle. If you don't mind, you can smash that. Throw a few dollars in the coffers if you want to cut the middleman out. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.